Hello, welcome to the Rich and Simple Living. My name's Maria. If you're new here, I vlog mainly about homeschooling, urban homesteading and home life, which is generally cooking. And today I'm going to be doing homeschooling, and I'm going to be talking about the things people say in regards to homeschooling, why you can't do it, because your children are missing out on, and then there's normally a list of things different people will tell you. So I thought I'll just have a quick chat and about the ones I've come across, the ones I've seen, heard, people have said, and we'll just have a chat about it basically. So the number one, you can imagine which one people always say the most. Now, personally, I've not experienced this one, only once. But the biggest one is people talk about socialisation. If your child is homeschooled, they can't possibly get any socialisation. You know, I don't get that. I don't get that at all. Like I say, I've not really experienced it. Only the once, one of my sons, when they first found out that I was going to homeschool Sean, said to me, "Oh, she won't have any friends." And I'm like, hang on a minute, she's been to primary, she's picked up friends there. At the time she was horse riding and she was doing different activities and she got friends there. And well, we've got a huge family, everyone's coming in and out anyway, so she's never alone. So yeah, he said it once and he must have realised how daft that sounded, and he never said it again. He's never ever said it again. But yeah, socialisation. Of course your children are going to have socialisation. I mean, you'd have to live on the moon. I've said this before. You'd have to live isolated on the moon to not get any socialisation. And even then you'd probably get some through radio. But it's impossible not to socialise with people. I mean, there are people, adults, who don't socialise too much by choice. I mean, I'm a quiet person. I don't go out and about a great deal. But for children are natural talkers normally. They're naturally inquisitive anyway, and they sort of ask strange people questions if you're not careful, because you're all saying to your children, don't talk to strangers, you know. But yeah, that they can join groups. Just because you're homeschooled doesn't mean you can't join other groups. Homeschool children go to scouts, cubs, guides, rainbows, brownies. They go horse riding, they go ice skating. They do numerous things, join netball teams. There are so many clubs and activities, endless amount, and that they can join and meet people, but not just people of their own age. They can meet people of different ages, and that's the beauty about children who are homeschooled. The socialisation part isn't just a group of children of the same age. They widen out their friendships with different age groups and different people from different walks of life. And I think it gives them a richer approach on things to be that way, because they know more, they learn more from other people of different ages, and the interactions with different people is really rewarding, and it makes them have better social skills. I think they get better social skills than if they were in a classroom all day just talking to the same children. They'll all end up bickering or falling out. That doesn't mean to say that, if you're different ages, you might not fall out, but do you know what I mean? You get the idea of what I mean. So that's a ridiculous thing. And I can't believe that people are still saying that these days. And especially with all the modern technology, and people make friends and, they do gaming online. I know you have to be wary of strangers and things, but there are people that have met people who have become very good friends by doing things like that. So we live in a day and age where you're constantly seeing people, meeting people, whether it's in reality or online, and but do be careful online about meeting people. Make sure somebody knows who they are, sort of thing. But yeah, it is impossible really to not socialise. You can't not socialise. Yeah, I just don't get that one. So that seems to be a big one. A lot of people have had problems like that, and it's even daft because people have been in scenarios where they've maybe taken their child to a club, I don't know, say ice skating or somewhere, and you go in for lessons and there's a group of them, same people every week, and you're having a chat with a parent, And the parent will turn around and find out when you homeschool, well, what about socialisation? There they are out on the ice with their child and other groups of children similar age and learning to skate and all chatting together and thinking, huh? But I have heard of cases like that. People have said things like that where they've said it and beggars belief, doesn't it? But yeah, that's a crazy one, that is. The next thing is they miss out on things they do at school, such as school trips, outings, things like that. Well, that's crazy too, because as a homeschool child, you can go out and about as much as you want, and it doesn't have to cost anything. For example, last week, it was mine and the husband's wedding anniversary. So we thought, oh, we'll go and do some schooling out and about. We're not going to sit in here, we'll go out for the day. So not far away, there was an abbey. It's Croxton Abbey. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it. If it's a national trust, most country national trust, not national trust, it's English heritage, that's it. And it's a nice abbey and it's free to go into. It's not manned, it's a free one. It's taken care of, it's looked after, and it's pristine, you know, as in taken care of. But it's a nice ruined abbey and it's perfect setting because Shining Key Stage 3 history, I've been learning about the Reformation and Counter-Reformation, things like that, and when Henry VIII had dissolved all these abbeys, and this was one of them. So you're there, you're hands-on, you're looking at it, you're talking about it, it's got information boards, you can read about it, and you can see what these abbeys were like, and it made a really good day out. It was really nice, and that's what we did. Just took a bit to eat and something to drink and just went out to this abbey. It was in the middle of nowhere, countryside was beautiful, and it was a lovely day. And you know, you can't do that if she's in the classroom. If you sat in a classroom, yes, you can plan a school trip, and so many of you are all on buses and being counted and being given worksheets when you get off the bus, and then you've got to concentrate on what's on these worksheets and what you're told, and you can't explore these places yourself. And the beauty about it is when you're exploring, you form a picture in your mind, you're soaking it in. Even I do, and people who love history do things like that, you know, or whatever topic you were covering. If you're in an aquarium, that's something else I like, and, you know, learning about the oceans and things like that. You can imagine it and you can sort of think of it in your way and learn what you want to learn and think, oh, I want to know about such and such, rather than be sat there with a clipboard saying, right, I've got to, you know, do this, got to do that. And your mind's taken up by filling in your worksheet because you've got to hand it in when you get on the bus. And, you know, you can't look into what you want to look into. You can't soak it in properly. Whereas if you're homeschooled and you go out on a field trip, you're not given a clipboard, unless you want to take one, take notes. I mean, Sean loves taking journals, but she tends to write them when she comes back. But even then, you can look around, you can discuss it, you can ask about things. You haven't got to stick rigid to what you've been given to do. You just wander and look. And it can be anywhere and it can be doing anything. You can be at the seaside learning geology, rock formation, because you can see it all in the rocks coming down the cliffs. And you can explore, you can think about it, and, you know, start becoming part of it. And you don't get that on a school trip. You haven't got the time and you're not left to sort of think about yourself. No teacher says, right, you know, we'll have a walk round, we're going to have a little guided tour, but at the same time, look at things yourself and soak in what you want to soak in and write about what you enjoyed and what you wanted to get from that experience. No worksheets ever said that. So, yeah, and as well, school trips, they only go out once a year. When Sean was in primary, they had one big school trip a year, and I know when I was in school they did as well. Christmas time you might go to the cinema or something like that, but nowadays they tend to do everything at school for things like that. But yeah, it tends to be once a year. Homeschool children, our children, they can go anytime they want. We can just plan a trip. Like I say, I went to this abbey. It was free, so we didn't have to pay anything. There's lots of free places round and about, as well as paid places. So, I mean, you know, you can go and do whatever you know you're able to do with what money you've got. One week you might have plenty of money. You say, right, we're going to aim for that week to be go and visit something big and that we know is going to cost. Or we might simply be on spec and say, right, we'll go there because it doesn't cost anything, and, you know. But yeah, that's the beauty of it. You have not got to wait for school to take you on a school trip. You're not missing out on anything with school trips, because you can go on trips anytime, and it doesn't just have to be a day out. You can go on a holiday whenever you want, and, you know, learn while you're there. Well, you're learning anyway. Yourselves, you learn things. How many times you actually look at something and say, well, I never knew that. I'm often doing that. Often going, do you know, I never thought of that, or I never knew that. And you learn all the time. So it's not just the children, is it? So yeah, you're definitely not missing out with school trips and things like that, because, like I say, you can do as much as you want, when you want, and how you want, from home. But yeah, going out and about. So, like, we live near a Norman castle as well, and Sean was doing about the Normans in Key Stage 3. We could just pop up and visit the castle and have a look at that. That did cost to go in, but I think it was about £4 each. So, you know, it's not major cost, but you just pick a time when you can do that. So yeah, you can do things like that anytime. Another one, this was a daft one that I don't know how many people have ever had this, but I don't know whether it's because Sean's getting near to like Key Stage 4 and people are starting to leave school, but they'll miss out on the proms and the school discos and things like that. And I think, you know, there's nothing to stop you having your own prom. If you're in a group of homeschool, you have homeschool meetups and there's a group of you there, and you got children similar age that would be leaving school at a similar time, what's to stop you getting together and having a party? You know, you can do that. You don't have to just stick to the children that are leaving. The parents can go, other family members could go, children likewise, and all join in together and enjoy it together, celebrate that time together. There's nothing stopping that. Or they could just arrange for a prom for the school age children. If your child's been like mine and been to primary school, she's got friends and acquaintances that are still round and about, that, you know, you could say, right, we're going to send out an invite to all of them and tell them bring a friend from, you know, that's leaving school, the school they're at now. They can pick a friend and bring them and have a big prom like that. You can do anything. You can have a family party if you wanted to throw a family party for them. And the same, like Sean had said to me, oh, I might not get a leavers jumper. Well, why can't you design a special jumper that celebrates that time period of them leaving school? You know, so you're not missing out on nothing. You can do all this. You can sort of design your own jumpers. You can organise your own proms and invite who you want to invite to them, because they will know people somewhere. You know, you might even have family members like Sean now. She's in the same year as one of my granddaughters, so they would have prom time together. But you know, if Sean wanted to have a prom, there's nothing to stop her inviting her, and they could invite other friends, and, you know, like I was saying, you could bring it together. And it's a nice way of everybody celebrating and friends meeting new friends as well. So, like I say, with the social thing, I mean, you could have parties anytime, really. You don't just have to do it for them. But no, you can arrange something, you can organise something, even if it's just to go out for a meal or arrange a nice little family picnic, anything that you wanted to do to celebrate that moment. And like I say, you could design your own t-shirts, print your own t-shirts, have them done. There's lots of places now that do things like that, and you could arrange something that, you know, something that would suit them, kind of thing. It doesn't have to have loads of children's names on the back, not unless they've got some friends who are leaving the same time, even though they're not in the same school. If they wanted to incorporate them, they could. So yeah, definitely, you're not missing out on nothing there. Another thing is, and this, I hate this. This is my big one. It's not socialisation. It's, you won't get a job if you don't have any GCSEs. You've got to go to school to do GCSEs. Wrong. You can do GCSEs from home. You can do them any time of your life. Sean could sit some now, or she can sit some 10, 20 years in the future, or we could go together and sit some, do a course together and sit some. You are not rigid to doing them at age 16 in year 11. Is it year 11? Yes, I think it is. Is it year 11? It is not a must that it should be done then. You know, if you choose not to do it then, that is not the end of the world. And even if you don't get no GCSEs, that doesn't mean you won't get a job. Not at all. Look at people like Richard Branson, people like that. You know, it's not about attaining all these GCSEs and, you know, what your memory can retain. It's about what you can do and what effort you put into things, and, you know, what sort of your willpower for doing things and your desire, your want. If you really want something, you'll get there. You will get there. It doesn't matter what, but you will get there. Because it's wrong that you just got to sit at 16 and do them. I mean, you can do GCSEs from home anyway if you want to. Even if you are homeschooling and you want to do your GCSEs, you can do them all online. I think as well, I think I've said it before, there are colleges from 14, 16 where you can do them. I was looking at that, but my nearest one would be a bit of a run out for Sean, because my local college starts 16 on, I think. But even then, she can do foundation courses and go into it from there at 16. There's so many options, and I do hate people saying that to me, because I think, I want to say, how many GCSEs have you got? What do you do for a living? Because I know some of these people wouldn't be able to answer too well. So yeah, never worry about things like that. Don't worry about things like that. Whatever your child wants to do, there's a route for everything. There's a way for everything, there's a route for everything. If you can't find that, there's always a loophole. But no, I think most things are gained through sheer want, determination, and putting hard work in, as in your efforts, you know. It's easy to go and do exams and just sit and read things and retain it all up there and then bring it out on the paper. Then a couple of months later it's forgotten, but you've got the paper, so hey, does that make you more experienced than the next person who's working really hard and puts their heart and soul into it and all their sweat? No. No, I would sooner employ somebody that can show willing and will work hard. I'm not bothered what you've got on paper, not at all. That means nothing to me. So yeah, I don't worry about things like that. But that's something they say. And also then they'll say, well, you know, work experience. What about work experience? Schools go out to work experience, gives them a little taster of what they might like to do or whatever. But the schools leave it for you to find a placement for them. They don't find a placement. So it's not like the child is turning around to the teacher and saying, I want to do this when I leave school, I want to train for this. So they're finding a placement suitable. Oh no, they let the parents go. If you find a placement, they can go on. If you can't find a placement, they can't do it. So basically it's a case of the parent who they know and seeing if they'll take their child on for a week's work experience. So it won't be anything about what the child likes doing. Very rarely is it anything like that. And so yeah, I need my hair cutting. So yeah, it's really, they're not sort of getting experience for something that they're interested in doing when they leave school. It's just experience for where the parent can find somewhere, and they have to be insured to do that as well. So they have to prove their insurance to the school that they can do that. Take children on for a week's work experience. I will get my words out. So, you know, that's not all rosy. I mean, does most people perhaps know somebody? And if you're homeschooled, you haven't got to go through the school for all the insurances. And most people know somebody who could say, well, could my child come for a week or a couple of days and just see what you do, get a bit of experience from it. I mean, if it is something that would require insurance papers, then, you know, you can always just sit them somewhere and they'd just be there and see what's done in the job or go through what's done in the job and things like that. You can gain work experience. Sean's done some work experience. She went with her dad window cleaning, and she's done a bit of work experience. So I'm going to tag some pictures on the end of this actually. And when I'm finished talking to you now, I'm going to tag some pictures on. I'm going to tag a couple on from the Abbey. Take a couple of pictures there, and I'll tag some on so you can just see what that was like. And also that was for a day trip, just up and go, you know, decide, right, it's our wedding anniversary, let's go to the Abbey. Sean's been doing this for Key Stage 3. This is what we'll do. On spec, we haven't got planned it for weeks. And then I'm going to tag on a bit Sean doing some window cleaning. So yeah, she went with her dad, she did some bottoms and did some window cleaning. She was quite chuffed as well because she earned a bit of money. She didn't have to, but a couple of the customers, one old lady, she liked Sean. She always sends Sean money at Christmas, and she was said to her, I better pay you as well. Then we said, no, you don't. Oh, no. So yeah, Sean's quite chuffed with that. So she did some work experience, hands-on work, and got to know what it felt like to be paid. And she got paid the same as her dad as well. So she knew what it's like to be paid, and that was a nice experience for her. So she's not missed out on any work experience, and she can go and do this again. So she's not missed out on nothing. She's had a bit of work experience. She only did the 1 day of it. So the schools, I think they have 5 days, so she can have at least 4 more. Well, she can have as many as she wants. But, you know, if she wants to sort of say her 5 days like school, she can do 4 more. Or she can do no more. But, yeah, you can still do it. If you know somebody that is willing to take them on, or somebody that does have insurances that cover schools, and have a quick word with them, then, you know, your child could do some work experience, could have a week of it. You just explain to them that you're homeschooled and you'd like that experience for your child, and do you do things like that? So yeah, they're the things that I can think of off the top of my head, and things that people have said and that I've heard said. Well, you can't homeschool because, and there's some of the things why. So anyway, like I said, at the end of this, I'm just going to take a few photos on, some of the Abbey and some of Sean window cleaning. And so I'll leave it at that then at the end. So I'll say my goodbyes now. And I will probably, well, actually, I was going to say I'll see you Friday, but I might see you before, because I might do the garden vlog. So that'll come under urban homesteading, because once a month I do the gardening collab, which is hosted by Victoria from Home Educating the Mad Lads, and we do a tour of the garden. Now it's all coming on, it's all blooming nicely, but I've got a bit of an issue with one of my blueberry bushes. Gone upset with one of them. I'll show you that, but I'm not able to do it next week. Normally it's the last week of the month, but I'm not able to do it next week, so I will probably do it. If it's not raining, I'll do it tomorrow. If it's raining, I'll do it Thursday. So it'll be tomorrow or Thursday, I'll come and do that. And then Friday we'll come back and we'll do something in the air fryer again. So until whichever day I see you next, take care of yourselves. Thank you for watching. And before I go, thank you for all my new subscribers. I mean, we do truly appreciate you, really appreciate you. And we're so chuffed when we see another one. It's like, oh, thank you ever so much. Thank you. And I'll see you soon. Bye.